The 2025 Nobel Prize in Medicine has just been awarded to 3 scientists who discovered something crucial about the immune system. Let's talk about it. One of the most essential cell types in your immune system is called a T cell. They act like sentries that are constantly on the lookout for invaders. These invading germs have special features that your T cells learn to recognize. These features, or antigens, act like keys that stick out of the invaders. As T cells learn who's a bad guy, they start generating these proteins that act like locks. When a T cell bumps into something with an antigen, the antigen key slips into the T cell's lock protein, and the T cell knows that it's found an invader. But what stops T cells from making lock proteins for keys that aren't antigens? This is what's happening during autoimmune disease. Your T cells accidentally recognize your own healthy cells as invaders and attack them. In the 1980s, Japanese scientist Shimon Sakaguchi was studying the fact that mice developed autoimmune disease if he removed an organ called the thymus. This suggested to him that the thymus must make some kind of cell that's responsible for stopping your T cells from attacking your own healthy cells. It took like a decade's more worth of research to identify those specific cells, and as it turns out, they're just a different kind of T cell. He named them regulatory T cells, or Tregs. But what's special about those Tregs versus other T cells that allows them to boss those other T cells around? Meanwhile, 5,500 miles away, American scientists Mary Brunkow and Fred Ramsdell were trying to figure out why this one specific kind of lab mouse just kept dying. Like the mouse's T cells were attacking their own organs. But why? Eventually, by examining the mice's DNA, they found that they had mutations in a gene on the X chromosome called FOXP3. And when they inserted a healthy copy of that gene, the mice got better. Now, any respectable geneticist can tell you that mutations on genes in the X chromosome are more likely to show up as traits in people who have XY chromosomes. This is because with only one X chromosome, you only have one chance to get that gene right, whereas people with 2 X chromosomes have a backup copy that can compensate for mutations on the other chromosome. So Brunkow and Ramsdell started looking at patients of an autoimmune disease that was known to affect more males than females. And when they looked at these male patients' X chromosomes, they found mutations in that FOXP3 gene. So they published their results. FOXP3 is a crucial gene, and if you don't have it, your T cells start attacking your own organs. And back on the other side of the world, Sakaguchi read this paper and made the connection. He jumped back into the lab, and sure enough, he found that the FOXP3 gene is the one responsible for letting Tregs boss around other T cells. Here's how it works. FOXP3 is what's called a transcription factor, which means that it can turn other genes on and off. Remember that genes are instructions to build proteins, and proteins are tools that your cells use to do their specific jobs. Turns out that FOXP3 turns on the genes that make the proteins that allow Tregs to do their jobs of policing other T cells.
Yeah, hi, big fan. Does this mean that if a person has an autoimmune disease, you can just inject them with Tregs and everything will be fixed?
Great question. Love your hair. The answer